the first thing we'll look at here is your grip. And the grip's sort of overrated. There's a lot of great players that don't have perfect grips. Your left hand is in a little weak position right here. There's a little gap between your thumb and the top part of your left hand. And also a little gap right here. I might just show you a couple little things with the grip, okay? And that might possibly help you a little bit to have your hands work as a unit so that you don't have to think of using your hands or timing your hands as much in your golf swing. Or just take a look at this swing a couple times. That's that little routine you do about setting your shoulders there. And then on the next one, I'll slow this down and take a little closer look at it. At this point, you can see your hips are back a little bit, your shoulders are way open. Now this is before you slide into position here. So being left-handed, that's why this is so difficult for you to do, because you've never done anything else probably left-handed. You do everything else in your life right-handed, and that kind of is the position you finally get into, which right there looks pretty good. You got to be careful about a real tight right arm too. I just put some lines up here now to see, how much shaft lean you have forward, the angle in your legs, which are very good, by the way, and your position. They kind of set back into that position, which I think, you're not playing every day either, so it just takes you time to get into position. I'm a little bit concerned about that right arm position. I'd like to see it a little more relaxed and maybe get this triangle just a little more in front, but it's not bad. Now I'm gonna go through this, and just before you take it away, you set a little more over there to the right, and now you start kind of leaning right there. So I think this is really about your right head position, but right now you're kind of leaning back a little bit more, where your head right now is pretty much right on top of your right leg. So what that does then is get you way behind the golf ball, which for driving is pretty good, but with your irons, that's a long way to travel back to the golf ball. Well, you're still stringing your shoulders. It's not too bad. You can see from where your legs originally were, you've got quite a bit of slide. You've moved a long ways away from the line here. So unquestionably, you can tighten up your body positioning here. There's no question you can do that. And I'm going to show you some things. I'll put it on the tape here for you, a couple things for you to work on. And let's just see how it comes down. And I'll look at the club face from when you hit the ball, you're back quite a bit with your upper body, which probably drops you a little more to the inside. And the more you stay back, the more you tend to go from the inside. You've got great lag with your swing, even with a weak left-hand grip. It's a very powerful position coming in. Again, if we drew a line right down your head here, straight line down nose. That's pretty much right on top of your right foot. That's a 90-degree line right there. So that's going to cause you to hit the ball really high, probably, extremely high, and tend to block it to the right. I'm going to try and show you a couple of things. And into a really nice finish. We'll pull that back just a little bit. Because you are getting a little bit of your leg through this line right here. But that head back, that really puts you underneath and behind the ball. So we'll take a look at it down the other view, and then I'm going to show a quick couple examples on it for you. Put a few lines in here, the white line being your target line out to the tree, and then this kind of boxes your target in. The yellow or orange line is the line of the shaft. It's at 56 degrees. The Callaway irons are a little upright. That's a little bit high. In other words, your hands are up a little higher than most of the guys we tape, but right at the high end, so don't get your hands any higher. You you can see as you kind of get into your setup position at the last moment here, you kind of close up your shoulders to your feet. Feet are aimed to the left. You are playing the fade. I see a lot of good players with the stance a bit open. Make sure you don't get I don't like to see your shoulders more closed than your body. I like to see them either parallel or a little left of your body. But I think you're kind of exaggerating maybe that closed start. Now, when we take the club back and down, we use this orange line as a reference. If you're on this side of the line, you're under the plane. If you're on this side, you're over the plane. Now, all I'm concerned most about is on the downswing coming down that orange line. Because if you're a little bit under, a little over, it's no big deal. If you're way in or way over, I start to get concerned. We're going to expect you to be under this plane from your description of what your shots are and just the general observations. Start the club back really good. And I say really good here because your left arm and the shaft's lining up. Club face is real square right there. Staying in your posture good. Check the tension in the arms. It's not too tight. So as we watch the club go back, it's good. Beautiful turn. That's a very powerful looking position from here. Club face, if anything's a hair open, probably with the grip, but it's still fine. It's just an observation for you, just a touch on the open side. And we'll just see what happens right here. So we're looking in great shape right here starting down. The club face is kind of reorienting itself just a little more on the open side. Not bad. Pretty good. Actually, that's pretty good. And I think you're going to come very close to this orange line in the setup. That's good. So you are not underneath this ball at all right here. The reason you would block the ball or hook the ball is because your rubber body hanging underneath it and you're so far behind it, the ball gets way out in front of your head. So you get a lot of time to chase the hands over. But really the plane, it's great right here. Really good. On this swing right here, really good. So that is not a push swing. Obviously the club being, if the club was coming underneath here, you would tend, or if the other way to do it would be to hold it off with your hands after hitting a few pulls and hooks. This ball, did it fade back, this one? Mm-hmm. Okay, we just put up Nick Price and somebody for you to watch. He just, it's got his lines set. This camera on this particular shot's not perfect. It's a little bit out to the right. So it's not a perfect line, but it's not bad. It's a different, he's got a much faster tempo. I'll show you Nick from the front so you can check out a few things. Well, I'll put one on here so you can at least check the swing plane a little bit. We see with these great players. This is a little lower with the club. This is a 5-iron. You got the club very similar to him actually at the top of the club face. And then, you were very good coming down too. I didn't really see a big problem. Obviously watching the best players in the world, so these are good things for me to see. One little thing you might notice here with most of these players is this finish position they go to. This would be kind of a neat little thing for you to. But it's just that the club goes a little more across their head that way. Sometimes, when I was watching it, your club's a little more straight down your back. So it's just a way of rotating a little more level through it rather than under so much. The under shoulders kind of leads to the club draping over your back, kind of like a bag of laundry over your back there. So That's just kind of something we'd see in a lot of really good players. I'm gonna go back and just show you maybe from the front view. One thing that I definitely saw with you is that little hang back thing where your head was getting way back. And this is a driver, so this is the most back and the most angle a guy would have right here. So if you see Price there, I would really like to see you get in the mirror and try and do that. But it's going to take work because of the left-handed, right-handed problem, you know. Other things that you see, this is again going to be his biggest move over, but you would see a better brace in that right leg. Front views, we did see you kind of sliding through there, you know. I'm going to do a little demonstration there for you, but he braces that back leg. Again, it's not natural for you because it's not something, that's not the way you hit a baseball or threw a ball or threw a rock in the lake, you know, it's all different. I'll put on another player here for you, a guy that stays back more. But remember when I drew that line down here, we look at this line here, watch what Elk does. Now he moves back a little bit here when he starts. See that little move? So I think you're definitely more slide there, you know. So that's not something I want you to go out immediately, you know, right out to play. You need to work on this a little bit. But when you start forward, you always see these guys a little more of their left leg probably goes through that front line. Maybe something I'd see. Steve stays back a lot though, more than most of the guys. You see where his head's a little more on the golf ball, and at this point I saw your head more over here. So if you wanted to get more of what would term the big muscle swing, less hand dependence, less timing, I think your body angles need to be a little bit better. And I'll show you that. This obviously gorgeous golf swing. 56. So you mean he's just hanging down a little bit better.
Should I drop my hands a little lower?
Yeah, that's all. Those clubs are pretty upright that you've got them, so that's what I was thinking.
2 degrees.
Yeah.
Last time I was screwed in.
Speed came out just a little bit more like you're probably in a little fade right now. That's the 18th hole of Doral. Practice round. He's won this tournament 2 out of 3 years. Just gonna get the hook cut off finish. You know, you might mess with that a little bit. I'm just gonna stand up here and do a couple things for you, okay? Okay, Mark, what I see here is it's difficult for you to get your shoulders square from talking with you and looking at the work you do. When you do square your shoulders up, the problem I see is that you're putting your head back as when you do it, so you're kind of in that position. That gets your shoulders more closed than your lower body. Well, what we have to do is practice in front of a mirror and getting things set up so that it's triangle, that the arms set more right in front of you. What I see happen, at first you're like this when you start with a very rigid right arm and the shoulders are really quite open and very level. And then you kind of go from this back to this. And it comes pretty close to getting into the right position. It's just you kind of keep continuing and it ends up putting your head over your right leg at address. And then to compound that a little bit is when you go back, then you also have a little drift or slide here. So you've got to come up with some ways, maybe putting a shaft in here or just doing some body drills in front of a mirror so that you can get braced up here. You've got a nice angle on your leg. It's at 84 degrees, which is very good. And when you go back, you want to go against that and load in there, almost like you had a club just simply leaning against my leg here, this way. And then I wouldn't, knock that thing over. I think that would help you. And I think it would help you because when I see you get back like this, you're so far behind it. When you come down, even though your plane's good, you're so far back here. When you come in to hit this tee, you're so far back here, it's really easy to flip the club over or to hang on to it, even though you're coming down the plane line good. So the plane of your swing's good. Your body positioning, your body angles are a little off. Now in impact, we should be back up here like we saw at Elkington, so that my arms, if I just did it with my body returning, I'd like my body to get more up on top of the golf ball. I see your shoulders more tilted and your head back. So I would try to get my body more in this position. Now the only way you can do that is by repetitions. You know, that's the work that I think you do so that you would feel like you're more on top of the golf ball here, going this way. And then I did mention to you that finish where as we go through the golf ball that we go into that position as opposed to staying under it and the club coming a little bit down your back. You practice these body drills often in front of a mirror. You can do it with and without your arms. You can simply go this way so you can get a feeling of what should my body be doing in the swing. It should load into your right leg, come right back on top of that golf ball. Your head should be back fairly close to its position. It can be somewhat back. Some great players are a little back. But again, you can always overdo things. You can be too far back. So I would try to get right back in the square and then go up to your finish. You were pretty good, really, with your body positioning at the end. Remember, I did tell you that there's a line here on your left leg. We generally see about half the leg go through that line. So you put a piece of tape on a mirror or something that you can see what's happening. Or when you videotape yourself, just draw a line on the screen or put your finger on the screen so you can see if you're starting to get a little more aggressive move over. Being left-handed, it would have been advantageous for you to play left-handed because that's your strong side behind the golf ball. So when you do your practice drills, you might practice just with your left arm and get a feeling of being more up here with everything going through this way as opposed to staying under and back behind it. Now what I'd like to do is actually just measure a couple things as far as your speed is on our machine, okay? You know, another drill you can do, I'll write down a couple things for you. I gotta go here, is put your head against a wall. You can do it with me. Just put your head against the wall, kind of just set up. Now, as you go back, you can kind of see if your shoulders are square to that wall, for one thing. And closed and open, so we get right nice and square here. Now, when we take our backswing, as we go back, you can let your head move a few inches to the right. But when you start, make sure that you're not starting like this, where you're looking that way, that you get a little more like this. Now, you load up because you want to get into your right leg and just feel like you make a good coil without, yeah, that's better. Oh, that's great. Your arms are in great shape. Now, when you come back to hit the ball, if you had a little spot there that you were looking at, when you come back to hit the ball, you just come right here. Don't go any further than this, just right to there. Yeah, just right to here. Good. And at that point, you would be just slightly off your right foot. You know, when you come, there you go. You're pushing off this instep just a little bit. Yeah. And then if you go forward, make sure that from this position you let your head come up forward and off the wall. Because I'm not going to swing like this. You know, that would be not right. I'll write a couple notes down for you. Let's do this as see how fast he is. 112. It's not bad. 2, 10, 3. That's good. I just want to see your speed. That's a big part of being a good player, because if you don't have speed, it's tough to play at a high level. I mean, you could be the best. You could be the club champion for 20 years in a row with at 98 or 100 miles an hour. If you can chip and putt, you shoot 71, 72. But if you can't go up to 110, it's difficult to shoot. Well, I'd say 105. 105, you can start to play good. But if you're up at 110, 112, you can hit a lot of par fives in two. It just makes the game the way it's going. You know, you're not intimidated, at least. Most of the guys are going to go about 110 and up on the tour. Okay. That's actually pretty good with his body right there. Good. Well, that's one thing that you've got. That's something that nobody can teach you. That's a gift, basically. It's like running a 40-yard dash in football. I mean, the guy could have been a hell of a high school football player, but if he's running a 5.5 in the 40, he isn't going to play in the NFL. You know, and that's what, you know, if you could go up to 115, 118, now you're getting out there where you can, you know, you're going to hit at 300. Especially if you get your body positioned a little bit better. That's really good. That's up there. That's faster than a lot of tour players are going. Yeah, that's good. That's impressive. How's your chipping and putting?
It's a lot stronger than it's ever been because I've been trying, the thing I've been working on for 2 years is trying to play better in the wind. Had that.
Yeah, you're not going to play good in the wind doing that. You know, so you.
So I worked really hard on my shooting.
Yeah, good.
I'm real confident.
And you know, will you have this summer a chance to play in the events? In the.
I'm probably going to play in the sunshine.
Yeah, that's what you need to do, and see how you do. Yeah.
And get invited to a few events up there.
There you go. There's at least a few things. It's hard to do it in a half an hour, you know. We'll just make it 100, okay?
Great.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Really appreciate
Okay.
it.
Oh, got to give you this.